Hello, Summer in the City. Hello, thank you. My name's Woody. I'm the senior editor of Popbuzz. And on our panel today, we're going to be talking about self-discovery, sponsored by Impulse. Let's get our fabulous panelists on the stage. We've got Helen Anderson, Kelsey Ellison, Olivia Jones, and Josh Lee. Woo. Hi, guys.
Hello, everyone.
All right, guys, self-discovery. I've done some research. I've looked in a dictionary. We got a definition. Learning about yourself and your beliefs. But what I want to know is, what is your definition of self-discovery?
I think, personally, self-discovery is kind of admitting that life is a journey rather than a destination. And I feel like we're all in a position in our lives where we're like, what's the next thing I can achieve? Like, what's the next big YouTube subscriber count? Or what's the next big job that I can get? And actually, it's about the process of getting that subscriber count or the process of getting the next job. You've got to enjoy the journey, not just aim for the golden carrot, because you might taste it and it might not taste as good as you want it to.
Yeah, that makes sense. What about you, Helen?
I feel like self-discovery is a journey, and it's something I feel like you will... It's about learning about yourself, what makes you who you are, what your kind of beliefs are, but also kind of finding a point where you feel really super comfortable, but you're also still learning as you go. So I don't ever think, like you said, it's not a destination, it is just an ongoing thing. But, you know, there needs to be a balance of feeling content within yourself as well at the same time.
Yeah. What about you, Kelsey?
I feel like self-discovery is just kind of, it's admitting to who you are, and also like admitting to how you can change as well. Also like letting yourself change and letting yourself grow, kind of thing. Yeah.
I think for me, being gay, a big part of self-discovery is about learning to be at peace with what makes you different, and not caring about what other people think about that. So yeah, I think it's about finding peace with who you are.
I love that. Let's write to the dictionary and change the definition right now. I think so. I'm ready. Okay, so let's get to know each other a bit better. I want to know about your journeys to self-discovery and how you got to where you are today. Josh, let's start with you. So tell us a bit about yourself, mate.
I will. I mean, I don't think my journey to self-discovery is quite done yet, but how did I learn who I was and what I like? I guess for me, so my self-discovery journey actually probably started when I came out, age 19. So I think for a lot of people that don't have to go through a coming out process, that journey can begin a little earlier, or it can begin whenever, if you're LGBT, when you come out. But for me, I think once I was 19, I started really learning what I liked, what I didn't, the kinds of people I wanted to be friends with. I think a big part of that was finding my kind of queer family in London and finding those other LGBT people that were going through that process. And then also professionally, I went through a lot of my life thinking I had to do certain things because of what my parents wanted or what was expected of me, also what I was naturally good at. And choosing to pursue writing when I was 22 was a big part of my self-discovery journey, and learning that I just have to do what I'm passionate about.
Did people warn you against doing that? Because writing is a very precarious industry.
My parents were horrified. My parents were so horrified. I don't think my dad still really knows what I do. I think he might think I'm a typist.
He does now.
They're still like, it's not too late, but it is too late.
What about you, Kelsey? Because you do loads, sorry, I should say. Dancing Hermione is with us, but she doesn't just dance. Singing, songwriting.
Yeah, that's the thing. I do so many things, and I think that is like a way of me showing that I'm still discovering myself, but at the same time, I like all of these things. So it is still me. Like, I do dancing, I do singing, I do acting, and I make YouTube videos. I do a lot of things. And yeah, I guess when I started self-discovering myself, especially as a performer and as a person like that, is like when I was a kid, I used to dress up as like a Disney princess. Aww. And then I would be that Disney princess for the whole day. Like, you couldn't call me Kelsey. I would act like that princess.
What princesses?
Jasmine was one of my favorites.
Cute.
Yeah, and also Little Mermaid because she sung a lot. So also Pocahontas because of the hair, and I used to have long hair, and I'm Pocahontas. And that was kind of like when I'm looking back, discovering I want to be a performer, I want to be an actress. And also I think as well when I only came out a year ago, So yeah, that. So yeah, that's also like I still feel like because I'm always been such a shy person, never really expressed myself very much apart from performing. I still feel like, especially YouTube has helped me a lot discover myself, basically, as a person.
Helen, you're an influencer, but you're also launching a product as well. So how did you get to that point? Because that's like a crazy journey to get to the point that you're launching your own product and stuff like that.
I never intentionally sort of went into being an influencer. Like, it was always on the side. It was something that I accidentally fell into doing, basically. And so I have always had like a very strong sense of self, even from when I was at school. I was a bit of a rebel. Like, I used to wear my leather jacket and like, you know, I'd buy oversized shirts and skinny jeans and tuck it in and pretend I was in I wasn't a band, but I'd be really naughty. And I've always had like strong sense of style, like whether it was hair, piercings, like crazy outfits. And I don't know, I started doing a few videos on YouTube about hair and everything, and then people kind of joined on, like, following me and everything. And I think because I had a strong sense of self and was going through this journey of finding myself as well, people were so into that. And I think as an online personality with such a vibrant interests, I think that's kind of helped me attract brands to, like, you know, so I've launched this product of Impulse, which is the body spritz, and it's got palm leaves on it. Because like, that's like my thing, like tropical, leopard print, everything like that. And it smells really good. Neon lights and stuff. So I got this one with Impulse. So thank you, Impulse, for like joining up. But like, I think it's just because over the years I've built up this reputation of being kind of just like that's who she is. And it kind of helps with, you know, wanting to launch things, because it's sort of my trail of thought has gone.
Well, I was going to ask you, you know, were there any moments of doubt when you were going through that journey of learning, like becoming an influencer, uploading videos online? Did you ever take a step back and go, you know what, I'm not sure this is for me?
I don't know. It's not a case of doubt. I think the only moments of doubt is wondering whether what you're doing sounds really bad, but like you have moments where like, is this even going to be popular? But at the same time, the more authentic you are and the more yourself, you might not get as many numbers in terms of people like liking what's mainstream, but you get a very more loyal and appreciative audience because you're so unique and yourself. And I value that way more than numbers. So yeah, there are times where I was like, oh, maybe I should dye my hair brown and wear plain things, and, you know, because that's where the numbers are. But then I'm like, that's not me. So
keep it real.
Yeah, keep it real.
Yeah, I love that. Olivia, radio host, now host of Popbuzz Presents.
Yes.
Very exciting.
Thanks.
So tell us a little bit about your journey getting into presenting and hosting.
So I think my life has been absolutely full of self-doubt, and I think that was partly because I think I knew for a very long time that I was gay, and I didn't tell anyone. I was really afraid of it. I was really scared. I remember being really emotional, and I built it up and I hid it, and I was always the awkward, weird one. You know, like all my mates would go into town and meet the boys at the bus stop, and I was like, I'm going to go home and watch the L Word. Like, that's what I did.
In secret.
In secret, yeah, on a private tab, and then delete all the histories so that my parents didn't know about it. Like, I hid so much, and I think I repressed myself and my personality time and time again. And eventually, I think it wasn't until university when I was like 18 where I just went, bam, okay, new start, new people, here I am. And I feel like I burst out of that closet, like fell over my feet a little bit. Let's be honest, we all make mistakes. But started doing student radio, and people were like, you're quite good at this. And I was like, thanks, mate. But then when you get into the industry, people start giving you feedback. And like YouTube is a world of feedback, and people will always dislike you. And that's really difficult. But I heard bosses saying, could you just be a little less female. Do you know what I mean? Or something like that.
Wow.
And it's like, but that's me. That's who I am. And so there was a fine balance of, I want to keep this job, but I have to do what my boss tells me to do. And I went through a period of about 3 years on the radio where I was like, I'll just do what they want me to do. And people stopped talking about me. The buzz died around my career because when I first started, I was me. I was 100% me, and people were like, "She's cool. She's weird. Oh, where does she fit? Oh, not on like mainstream brands, but she's cool." And then all of a sudden, it was like, no one cares.
Wow.
And so it's that really fine balance of like believing in yourself, as you say, and being authentic, and hearing the voices saying it's wrong and all that sort of stuff, but actually just going, do you know what? If I get hit by a bus tomorrow, I know that's really dark, but if I get hit by a bus and I'm laying on the road and I'm looking up at the sky and I'm going, what have I done with my life? You want to know that you made completely the right decision. You were like, nah, I was me till the end.
That's such a good point. And like, you can only act for so long, can't you? You can't really hide for years and years. Well, you can, but I wouldn't advise it. Okay, so on the road to self-discovery, everyone makes mistakes. It could be a dodgy haircut, it could be a bad job, it could be a regrettable goth phase. Mine was not a regret though.
Still in it.
It's still in it, yeah. So, what were your trips on the road to self-discovery? Can you tell us a little about them? Let's start with Josh.
We're all tangled. Some of the obstacles on my road to self-discovery, I think a big thing for me was actually pride. And I think pride often comes from a place of fear. I think for a long time, particularly in my early 20s and my late teens, I was really afraid to try things because I didn't want anyone to see me being bad at things. And now there are things where I look back and I'm like, oh, I wish I'd started trying that sooner. Like I've just gotten into photography or things like that. And I wish I'd started sooner, but I was afraid to look silly. So I didn't let myself discover that kind of passion and interest. So I think for me, a big thing was pride. And I think underneath that, just insecurity about not being good.
Yeah, fear of failure is a big one for a lot of people, isn't it?
It is. And I think as you get older, you become a lot less afraid to fail because you've racked up more successes in your life. So you can, like, even if I'm not good at this, I know I can do X, Y, Z. So as you get older, it just gets a little bit easier to fail.
Yeah. What about you, Kelsey?
I'm trying to think of one. Because if I do something...
It's been a smooth ride.
No, it's not.
Failures.
It's really not. It's really not been a smooth ride. But I just I'm one of those people who's just like, oh, that's like on to the next bit. But I think I'm trying to think of something. Okay, so I dyed my hair purple, like the dip dye kind of thing, when that was a trend. But it turned green after 2 days. Now, everyone's like, oh, that's funny, that's a mistake. I left it like that because I couldn't be bothered to change it. But then Kylie Jenner had the green hair.
Yes, she did.
And everyone was like, oh, you're so fashionable, you're so
She copied
stylish
you.
now. So it's like, was it a mistake? No, I just like, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. I guess, like you said, something that stopped me on my self-discovery is I'm such a people pleaser. So if someone's like, oh, I don't like how you did this, I don't like how you did that, a lot of times I will be like, oh, maybe I should like change this up a little bit, or I want to make everyone happy, and I can't. Like, I've come to realize that I can't make everyone happy, but that definitely in the past has stopped me from uploading certain videos I want to upload. Like now I do a lot of Harry Potter videos. In the past I would never upload them because I was like, oh, people don't want to see that, like no one finds that fun. So yeah, I'm like... That's
weird because they're like some of your most popular videos as well. So
yeah, it's my most popular videos now are always my Harry Potter videos. I upload something Harry Potter, no one cares. So I'm just like, okay, I'll just do the Harry Potter. But like, I love it. I love Harry Potter. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, that's a good lesson.
I want to be Harry Potter.
Lean into yourself, isn't it? And your interests and everything else.
Yeah.
What about you, Helen?
I don't think I've got any regrets in terms of like what I've looked like. Like, I've been like, what were you thinking, friend, when I've looked at old photos? But if I'm honest, I don't regret it because it is that you got to look like a hot mess at times to get better. And my Facebook just actually popped up with, this was your most liked photo in 2011. I was like, what was I wearing? But I don't care because you're not born perfect.
No.
And everything you do is a stepping stone for the next thing. So I don't really regret anything I've done because all I can do is learn from it, and it's helped me in the future. Yeah. Obviously, like in the last question, there's been times of doubt, but I think generally it is just stepping stones in a journey and like slight hiccups on the way, but that's just life, isn't it?
Yeah, you got to give yourself space and allow be kind on yourself. Yeah.
Yes.
What about you, Olivia?
I think that leads on quite nicely because I regret the way that I treated myself. I totally regret the way that I made myself feel about not having a girlfriend or not being out or not fitting in, not being trendy, not being as beautiful as some of the girls. Like, I went to an all-girls school, which was difficult, being secretly gay as well. Just like, oh my God. PE changing rooms, like, no, stare at the floor. So yeah, like it was really difficult, and I think the worst thing that I did was to myself, was like beat myself down about it, and yeah, I really wish I hadn't done that, because when I found my first like proper girlfriend, I ended up marrying her. So yeah,
congratulations!
Thanks.
Round of applause for the marriage. Didn't get an invite though.
Didn't know you then.
So a big part of self-discovery, as we've just been talking about, is overcoming anxiety about maybe how you look or what people think about you. And that's so difficult in a digital age as well, particularly if you're putting content out online. I'm sure we've all received horrible comments online at one point or another. What would be your top tip to overcoming those and ignoring those? How do you deal with it, basically? Josh?
Well, I actually I deleted my Twitter for a year, and I just got it back a couple of weeks ago, actually. But basically, I'm a journalist, and outside of writing about YouTube, I've written a lot about race and sexuality and gender and political subjects. And because of that, and because I'm visibly black and I'm openly gay, I received a lot of abuse on Twitter. So at times I would have people sending me pictures of men being strung up from trees. It was really nasty stuff. It was really dark. So I took some, and also on the flip side of that, I felt while I was on Twitter and I was pursuing a platform and growing my platform, I could feel myself growing in ways that I didn't like. I became kind of, I guess, a little self-indulgent. I felt that my opinions mattered more, and everything I thought needed to be said. So I took a year off, and it's been a really lovely year, and I've really been able to work out what matters to me, what I want to speak on, what my values are. And I think we're in such a digitally saturated environment now that it's really important to step away and say, what's important to me without the influence of others? Because your worldview is colored by people, and that's a natural part. But as people, we're only really designed to have our worldview shaped by a certain number of people. And I think it's important to step back from the millions around you and see what your family think and what your friends think and what your colleagues think and those real people around you. And once you do that, I think you're able to go back out into the digital world with a real defined sense of self. So I think it's important to take breaks and take step backs and just kind of take stock of what's important and what's immediately around you.
I love that.
Thank you.
Kelsey, what would you say?
Okay, that was brilliant. So, I guess a lot in real life as well, but as soon as I was on the internet, every single day, every single photo upload, every single video upload, there's a conversation about my eyes. Every time. And like, my eyes, yeah. So, I have a fake eye, like a glass eye. Yeah. And it's like, so, the way I kind of overcome this, because it's such an appearance thing, like someone always has something to say about it, no matter what the content is, someone always has to say something about it. I upload a banging selfie, I'm like, I look great, and then someone has to say something. But the way I've like figured this out is they're just pointing out the obvious.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do about it? Yeah. I also have 5 fingers, kind of thing. It's just like I can't like change it. Like that's it. So like, and I apply that to kind of anything else as well, as comments that I get online as well, like appearance, or if they have an opinion on something that I do, or like my content. I just kind of like, that the sky is blue.
Yeah, pointing out the obvious.
Yeah.
I definitely get that with homophobic stuff. Like, you're gay. I'm like,
Yeah.
I know. I'm really gay. Like, what do you want me to do about it?
Yeah, and also I think as well, then I always, like, I don't know, I seem to like have a filter now where I can just kind of filter out that and then like focus on the positive stuff. Definitely, like it's been it's taken a process to do that, but I think I am at a place now where I can just like focus on the positive stuff. And
So it just comes with time then, it's just...
Yeah, and just like changing my mindset on it. When it first started happening, especially after the some of my videos went viral and I like it just went into a big influx of people. It took a while. Like at first when I was doing that, I was like, oh, I don't want to upload videos anymore. I like do a lot of screen acting, and I'm like, I don't want to be on screen. Everyone's just gonna think if this is what everyone's saying on this video, that's what everyone's gonna think when they watch a film with me in and stuff like that. But then like I developed like a different mindset on it. Like it's me. That's what. If people are commenting about it, it's still cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's me.
I guess because one of your videos, the Dancing Hermione one, that was viewed millions and millions of times. It was picked up in loads of different places.
Yeah.
That's got to be scary. To me, I would be like...
It was very scary because that was like a huge influx of new people that didn't know about me or who I was. Because I have a lovely like viewer base, like that are just so nice and lovely. And then all these people came in, and then it was just like, oh, what's going on? Yeah, but no, it's fine. I think it is just like changing your mindset on things of what people have to say about you and changing like, yeah.
What about you, Helen? How do you overcome the negative side of social media?
I just put it down to people, like, just knowing that these people don't know me. And I find some things quite funny, like they'll point out the obvious, like your hair's dry, and I'm like, I know. Why do you think I go to the salon and spend so much money trying to fix it? Like, just, okay. So I just kind of take it with a pinch of salt. I mean, I've had it, like when I first started YouTube, you know, people would slate me for loads of different things about my weight, or like my hair was always a big thing, like, oh my god, your hair. But it got to a point where I just couldn't care anymore, because these people don't know me, they don't see me in my everyday life, they don't see me on my good days, they don't see me on my bad days. They'd just seen a 5-minute video, made a judgment, typed it up, had a little power trip, and then they'll probably go and have a cup of tea or something. Like, and I don't care. Like, if that makes you feel better about yourself for putting me down, then I feel kind of sorry for you, if anything. What's important is just the people that are around you, and you should always put your energy and time into the people that care about you and put the energy and time into you as well. Getting upset over someone for writing something really petty and silly isn't worth it. You have to rise above it and be the bigger person.
It is weird, isn't it, that people go on the internet to do that? I'm never, not surprised by people who take the time out of their day to comment something negative. It's very, get a hobby. I don't know, that is the hobby, it is, isn't it? Right. Olivia, what? I
was going to say, first of all, never underestimate how bad it makes them look. Nobody, I read through comment sections and I see a bad comment and I think, you're a nasty person. I don't think, oh, I agree with that. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I don't look at the video and go, oh, that really horrible person hiding behind a fake picture or a picture of a car. Or that Audi TT is really angry at me today in the comment section. No, that's their. It looks bad on them. It doesn't really look bad on the person in the video. And I think also it's that really important thing of remembering why you're doing it. Why are you posting? Why are you putting that content out there? If you remember why you're doing it, are you doing it because you thought it was a really good thing to do at that time? You wanted to put that message out there. Why are you doing it? Doesn't matter whether it succeeds or whether it fails. If the reason is from the root, the reason you picked up that camera or whatever in the first place, if you remember that, then everything else is just trash.
It's easy. Done. Okay, do you guys have any life mottos or maybe pieces of advice that you've heard that you live by, that maybe something you think about daily or quite often? Because my one's always like rising to the challenge. Just when you think you're not good enough, actually step up and do it, because that's how you get to the next piece. So what about Josh? Do you have any words of wisdom?
A piece of advice that I take with me is one from RuPaul, which is, if they ain't paying your bills, pay those something, no mind. Which means if they're not paying you, it doesn't matter, which I think is a really important thing to live by, because it's in a world where, particularly with social media, everyone's opinion has equal weight online. That doesn't mean it has to have equal weight to you. Like, if your mum thinks you're amazing, that's so much more important than like someone who rents from their mum's basement well into their 50s saying that you're not. So I think if that person is doing nothing for you, then it's chill, it's calm, just carry on, and it doesn't matter what they think. So I think that's mine.
Sound advice.
My brain has gone blank on this, but it's like, this is a very typical one. But for me, the YOLO thing, like, you only live once. Like, why would you spend your day being someone that you're not, or doing something that you don't like? When you only live once, well, maybe if you believe, I don't know, we could get into a whole conversation with this, but yeah.
I don't know. I don't have any, like, I always forget things, so I don't really remember, like, quotes and stuff, really. But I guess my mantra for myself is just to be true to myself and not compromise myself or anyone else. Like, a lot of people ask me how I'm so confident wearing things like really outlandish or whatever, because I don't care if someone looks at me and has a problem with it. Like, I just do things for me. You do you. That's one. You know, that's the thing, isn't it? But just be your own hero. Like,
I love that. Be your own hero. Say it to yourself at night, every night.
Just whisper it under your breath. Be your own hero. Mine's feel the fear and do it anyway. Like, that's a really common phrase, I think. But just kind of acknowledging it's scary, you're going to get clammy hands, but do it anyway, because what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah. And speaking of RuPaul, if you can't love yourself, how the hell are you gonna love somebody else? Sorry, I had to. Okay, I want to know about your guys' role models. So, particularly in terms of discovering yourself, you know, like people that have come into their own, things like that. Olivia, do you have any role models?
So, growing up, I got compared to Fern Cotton quite a lot.
Fern Cotton?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who, do you not? No?
Well,
I love her.
I've
She's
never
so
met
good.
her. I'm sure she's lovely.
And I feel like
Fern Cotton.
No, I don't know her personally. I know who Fern Cotton is. I wasn't born in a...
yeah, so Fern Cotton.
Yeah.
And she's... I feel like I've grown up with her and seen her go through like the presenting, and like she obviously did radio, and I felt that connection with her. But then also even more recently her podcast, which is about mental health and how she struggled with it, and actually she acknowledges the kind of the showbiz element of things and being like, yeah, I won't go to the after party of the Brits. I'd rather come home and like put my feet up, sort of thing. And I totally relate to that, because I do not identify with the showbiz like sort of thing. Like, if I ever interview someone for the radio, like a pop star or whatever, I'll be nice, I'll be like genuine and be like, hi mate, nice to meet you or whatever. But I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, your last album, it was so amazing, like tell me everything. Like, there's no point. So like, and I think Fern Cotton does that quite well.
Cool. Helen?
My role models?
Yeah.
Eddie and Patsy from Ab Fab.
Yeah! I'm here for that. Kelsey?
I have like 2 or 3. So my first one is actually my dad.
Oh.
So my dad is in his own world. He just does not care what anyone thinks. He always does what he loves to do. He plays in bands, but he doesn't play in one band, no. He likes all kinds of music. So he's in like 6 bands while he works at a door factory behind you, and then he goes on tour. He wears crazy clothes. He's always encouraged me to be myself. So and my dad, like, he would always, like, if I did a little show for him, he'd like join in with the show and
I was
everything.
going to say, have you joined him on stage yet?
Oh yeah, we've sung together loads of times.
Oh,
and
sweet.
Stuff. Yeah, so my
Hook me
dad
up
is
with
a
some
big,
tickets next
yeah, he's a
time.
big role model for me because like he definitely helps me like be comfortable with myself, and like I got that from him wearing all the crazy clothes and everything.
That's so sweet.
And then honestly, it might sound a bit typical, but Lady Gaga honestly is. I've been to every single one of her live shows, not every single one ever, but when she comes to the UK.
Every tour.
Every tour, yeah. And it's just, she's so inspiring to me, her whole story. We have a very similar kind of story, like musical theatre people. Just, I don't know, just she's so genuinely herself. Like, she came into a pop era where everyone was like indie, and she's like, here I am being this fabulous pop star in these crazy clothes, and it was just so inspiring. Those two.
I mean, there's a pretty good picks. Your dad and Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
And maybe a
They're the same
collaboration will happen.
They're the same person.
What about you, Josh?
I was actually been racking my brain about this all day, and as this was coming down, so inspired by Kelsey, I'm going to choose a relative. So I think my nan is my role model for self-discovery. So her dad died when she was very young, about 12, and she had my mum when she was 19. So it was quite a tough life. She never had very much money. And when my mum was 16, my mum has 3 younger brothers, my granddad left. So my nan was left in the 70s on her own, raising 4 kids. It was very hard. And the moment she could, she moved to London, saved up whatever money she had, and she got into Central St Martin's, which is a hugely prestigious art school, to learn graphic design, and went on to work for amazing places like the Natural History Museum. And I think for a woman to have done that in the 80s on her own with kids is just incredible. And I think still today, but even more so then, like, mother became a woman's sole identity, and for her to say, no, I'm an artist too, and I'm this creative person, I'm going to go out and do that, was inspiring to me. And she's always been super inspiring. She's not with us anymore, sadly, but she became this super, like, crazy posh woman that always wore like these Russian fur hats, which is like, she's real salt of the earth growing up, but then she married someone really rich and became really bougie. And she was like in her 70s, living in a flat in Camden, doing big cycles, doing her own thing. So yeah, she's kind of been doing her since day one, and I always found that really inspiring.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, big up, Nam.
Yeah. Okay, what advice would you give to someone who wants to enter each of your own fields? What would be the key pieces of advice that you would give to them, starting off? Olivia?
Don't be afraid of rejection. Rejection doesn't mean that you're bad, doesn't mean that you're not talented. So I like maybe 3 months ago, I actually got made redundant. I lost my job. It was 2 weeks before my wedding. So I was like, God damn, I got to buy dinner for 120 people next week.
Chippy.
This sucks.
No pressure.
Yeah, it'll be ticketed event. So yeah, that was a really like, oh my God, I'm feeling really low, but I'm also like going on honeymoon and all that sort. So it was a real mixture of emotions. And so I came back from honeymoon and I sat down in front of my laptop and I was like, right, got to start emailing everyone and trying to find a job. And my wife was like, you can't go to the coffee shop because you can't spend any money because no money's coming in. So I literally stayed in my 4 walls for like 3 months.
No lattes?
No lattes,
No
darling,
flat
no
whites?
lattes. So
Gosh.
it was just a bit of a shock, you know, to go from like, I'm presenting on the radio every single day and I interview One Direction and then being like, oh my God, I have nothing. But like coping with it and then moving on and being like, okay, introduce yourself. And I introduced myself to like hundreds of people, honestly, hundreds of people. Some of them got back to me, some of them didn't. And here I am.
By email? So you're just like literally hitting people's inboxes?
Email, Twitter, just kind of like sending them my video, sending them just stuff that I've done and being like, here I am, this is me. And when no one replies, it's like, okay, you don't get it, fine, on to the next one. Like, don't take rejection as you're not good enough. It's just about being in the right place at the right time.
That's great. I love that. Helen?
I would say just be consistently you and never see it as a popularity contest or try and be the most popular or look at numbers and followers and likes because at the end of the day, what's more rewarding is being liked for just being yourself, whether that means you're most popular or you're not. And I think people appreciate people that aren't trying to be popular or doing what's mainstream. You can do that for a fast, quick fix, but at the end of the day, people won't love you for you, they'll love you for giving them more of what else is out there. To really, really tap into people and to be loved, I suppose, is being genuine and yourself.
And people can tell.
Yeah, people can
People
tell.
can tell.
Yeah, and they care about you. Like, they really honestly care if you are unique, because they're thankful. It's like a breath of fresh air. They'll be like, yes, I need this. So yeah, just be consistently you, I'd say.
What was the question? I didn't hear it. I was just like, these are really good inspirational things.
What advice would you give to someone who wants to get into your field? How do we become...
My field?
Yeah, you know. I mean, because you do so many things. How do you vote? Teach us right now. I want to learn how to death roll.
I guess I have like two kinds of fields. I have like the YouTube field and then like the performing field, but they kind of overlap. Like you said, rejection is a huge thing in performing and auditions. You have to go into an audition and you get so many rejections before you get a job. So yeah, do not be scared of rejection. It's nothing personal. Even with like a YouTube video, I think if it doesn't do as well as another video, it's not on you. You don't lose value. So I never put value on the numbers. It doesn't mean that I'm any less of a person. So I think that is how I would. I forgot the question again.
Kelsey.
Is that what
I mean, that was a good answer to the question that you've just forgotten. So thanks for that. Let's move on. Josh.
This is getting into your field, okay? So I'm a journalist and writer. Well, I write in many different guises, but right now it's journalism. And I think my biggest piece of advice is know your worth and demand it at all times and don't accept anything less. So I know in journalism and in media generally, there's a big culture of doing things for free. And I've never written anything for free in my life for other people. And that was a big hindrance to me when I was wanting to start out, because there's big demands on unpaid internships, which if, like me, you don't have parents paying your rent, that's just not possible. So I started a blog, I built an audience, and from there I got my first paid commission. And it gave me, going forward, a really strong sense of what I'm worth. And it means I don't get screwed over, and I will fight tooth and nail for my coin. And I think if you are someone who is from a working class background, that's so important. And so think of creative ways to make your money if you want to get into a field where money isn't available to you right now, because it might take a little longer and it might be a little harder, but you'll go through your career being such a stronger person. And I think the return on investment is I can't think of the word as a writer, is immeasurable. It's just, It's a huge sense of satisfaction to go through your career knowing your worth and knowing your value. So prize that first and think of ways to get to your goals while keeping that intact at all times.
That's brilliant. Okay, so we've discussed that self-discovery is a journey. So obviously that's going to continue. So I want to ask as my final question, where will you guys be in 5 years' time? Where do you want to be? What do you want? Tell me. Olivia.
Happy.
Aww.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm open to things changing and like admitting that this is a difficult game to keep playing. You know, being a little bit older than your co-presenter perhaps, and just being like, oh my god, like, am I too old? Do I need to settle down? Think about having kids? Like, there's just elements of things where you just like make your peace with what life is and accept and go for what you want, not what you think you should be doing. Like, I want a family, so I've got to start thinking about that, and I've got to think about supporting my family because that's important to me. So yeah, there's an element of that.
What about you, Josh? Oh, Helen, let's go.
5 years' time, we'll be walking around a zoo with the sun and the... I don't know. I hate this question. It scares me.
Come on.
I don't know. Maybe I'll be doing something else. Maybe I'll be like... I might still be doing this. Could be vlogging for the rest of my life. want to be a rock star. I want to do a bit of teaching. Like, I want to just broaden my horizons. Like, I don't know what I'm doing next week. Actually, I do. I'm going to London for Walking with Dinosaurs. But day out. I think for me, I do think ahead, not too much. I'm very much like, what's going on now? But you think a little bit forward just because it's sensible. So I'm up for anything. Hit me up.
Sweet. She's ready.
Yeah, I'm kind of similar. I like to have goals, but I don't like to be that is that and that is what I have to do in 5 years' time. And if I don't get it, then I'll be unhappy. I think it is all about the journey. But in 5 years' time, I guess just still doing something creative. I like being happy. That's what makes me happy, just doing something in the fields that I really love. And if that does change, like, that doesn't matter to me, because I definitely have gone through, like, periods of my life where I've enjoyed things more and then it's gone to something else, it's led on to something else, led on to something else. So I'm very open to going somewhere else. Who knows? Honestly, yeah, don't know, honestly.
What about a cameo in the Fantastic Beasts films, maybe?
So, yeah, okay, so that would be incredible. And one of my goals is one of my goals was to be in a film as an acting, and that happened this year. I was in Han Solo. From a big up.
Well done.
Yeah. I guess in 5 years I hope to be in another film.
Yes.
Yeah.
Solid. I like that.
There you go.
Josh.
You said about wanting to be happy and that almost being like it's a cop-out, but maybe it's like us older gals. But you do when you get to a certain age, you think, okay, right, my goals are how I'm feeling emotionally. That's for me anyway, and I actually really agree. Like, my goal in 5 years is to be, like, happy with myself, chilled out, not drinking every weekend, and just calm. I think, like, when you go through your early 20s are such a chaotic time, and when you move out of that into your late 20s, you learn that your priorities are just to kind of feel good. And I don't kind of keep my mind closed to how I'm going to feel good in 5 times, but the idea of being happy and feeling secure and feeling at peace is what's going to guide me to whatever that may be. So yeah, I agree. My goal is really, in the words of Beyonce in the Pretty Hurts film, to be happy.
And that's a really good note to end on. Can we give it up for our amazing panelists today? Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming. Have a lovely weekend. Bye.
Thank you.